Mighty Blues, welcome back to another live stream. I hope you all are doing fine. Now, I know I did say on Monday that I probably won't be doing another live stream this week. Basically, what happened is when it come to recording FIFA 19 yesterday, the game footage sort of corrupted. It basically recorded 10 minutes rather than 20, so therefore it cut out quite a lot of the integral game that we played in the episode. So I thought, rather than just throwing the episode out and, you know, putting it out there in bits and bobs and it not being fantastic, I may as well just disregard it for the minute, try and sort the FIFA settings out, and in the meantime make another live stream as soon as it went down so well with you guys last time. So let me just make sure everything is working. Yeah, everything seems to be working so far. Sorry if you heard a little echo there. Like I said, it is only, again, my second time doing this. So, we'll get straight into the Everton topics anyway. As you can see by the title, I did want to discuss the Everton transfer ban, the academy ban that was put in place last week, I think it was now, where Everton were basically found guilty of illegally approaching a young academy player, and we were fined £500,000 and given a 2-year academy transfer ban. Now, I want to discuss that. I want to discuss why I think that is a little bit over, over the line. I think why that's a little bit too far by the FA. I want to discuss why, the Richard Scudamore situation comes into that as well. We'll talk about that in this live stream, of course. Bear with me 2 seconds. Let me just tweet it out so everybody knows that we are live, because, want to get it out to Twitter and everything. I did tease before that I was making another live stream. I was going to be coming on to discuss some Everton issues. So let's get it on the old Twitter so people know that we're here and I can come and say hello if they want. We are now live. Come and join us and have your say on Everton Football Club. There you go. Tweet it out. That is now out there, so hopefully, people will see it and come along and join. Ian Clark, thank you very much for joining the stream. You've asked, is 500k the norm? Well, £500,000 for a transfer, a transfer fine is the highest transfer fine that there's been. I believe Manchester City were found guilty of a very similar situation a couple of years ago, and were fined 250,000 or 300,000, and the same with Liverpool, and they were only fined 100,000. So £500,000 is the largest fine that the FA have ever given a club for illegally approaching an academy player or something to do with in that nature. So in terms of is it the norm? No, it's not. We've been rewarded with the highest fine that's sort of ever happened. Of course, it will be Everton. And like I said, the fine for me, I just want to make a point. I'm not by any means sticking up for Everton in this situation. Listen, if we've illegally approached a young player or illegally approached any type of player, whether it's in the academy or with the first team, then, fair enough, fine us. We shouldn't have done it. That's fine. You have to abide by the rules, and if you don't, you get fined. But I think the 2-year transfer ban, listen, it affects Everton Football Club because we can't now go out and buy academy players, but it's majorly affecting the young players that are out there kicking a ball around the street every single day. You don't see much of them anymore, and I know it's cliche and it's all that, but it's true. When I was a kid, certainly I'm only 20 years old, but when I was a kid, we were out every single night after school playing football, kicking a ball around, having a kick about, aspiring to be professional footballers one day, even though we were like bloody the age where you probably wouldn't get scouted anymore. We were aspiring to be a professional footballer, and now kids are sitting at home, playing on the PlayStation, playing on the Xbox, playing on the iPad, and I don't think that's necessarily an awful thing, but you don't see it as much now as kids being out in the street playing football. And now that we've had this transfer ban in play, and we can't actually sign an academy player for 2 years, it's just gonna make everything a lot worse. Obviously, I don't want to start going into players that have come through Everton's academy and sort of people that have come up the ranks and have been signed at a young age and have been caught playing football in the streets, playing football on the park, and that have been wonder stars. But the main one that comes to mind is obviously England's highest goal scorer of all time, Wayne Rooney, was scouted on a local football pitch playing for a local team at a young age, come to Everton, done the bits at Everton, went to Man United, won everything you can win in club football, and then, you know, is now England's highest goal scorer of all time, and it started for him on the streets of Liverpool playing football. So I think it's really vitally important that we talk about this, because like I said, I'm not sticking up for any Everton if we've illegally approached the player, whatever, fine us, whatever, but to give us a ban that's significant, that means the people of this city, the young kids of this city that are playing football every day, aspiring to be professional footballers, are going to miss out, because it's going to be them that miss out on the opportunity to you know, sign up to Everton's academy, and who knows, maybe become a player like as influential as Wayne Rooney, as influential as Tom Davies. I know we don't like talking about Ross Barkley, but Ross Barkley as well, all coming through the academy, all picked up on local pitches, and now we've had this massive ban now for 2 years where we cannot approach any, you know, players, we cannot scout any players of that nature for that period of time. At least that's how I understand it anyway. If I'm wrong, then obviously don't hesitate to put it in the comment section down below, whether it's the live comments or the comments at the end of this video, when it goes up at the end of this stream, when it goes up as a video. But I just think it affects that, and like I say, in a sec we'll talk about the Richard Scudamore situation and how that directly links in to obviously this transfer ban. Ian says, oh, same old, 100k, 200k, now 500k, he didn't even sign for us, we can still sign abroad. Yeah, it is, it's exactly, you know, whether this is, I don't want to sit here and start making agendas up and start saying it's 500k because it's Everton, and when it was City it was smaller, when it was Liverpool it was smaller. I don't know whether it's been a gradual thing where the FA have gone, you know what, they've done it this fine, they've done it now, more teams are doing it, so we're going to find them even more. I read in the news a couple of days ago that Chelsea are apparently getting a 2-year transfer ban altogether for a very similar situation, so I don't know where the rules sort of set in, but I 100% agree with you, you know. They're moving these fines up, and they're increasing them, and you know, a fine's a fine. 500k for a club the size of Everton Football Club, with the money that's coming in, with the investment that we've got behind us, isn't too significant. It really isn't too significant. But a 2-year transfer ban, therefore meaning that we can't sign any players, you know, sort of for the academy, is massively significant, and it's affecting football. You also said there we can still sign abroad. I'm not too sure. We can still sign for the first team. We'll still be able to make signings for the first team. Marco Silva and Marcel Brands will still be able to bring players in for the first team, but in terms of academy, I'm not too sure whether we can still, you know, go abroad and sign academy players. But I think the whole point of this situation, and the whole, you know, the reason why it's so significant, I think, is because the FA are constantly drilling down football teams, especially in the Premier League, Everton, Manchester City, Liverpool, whoever it is. They're constantly drilling down the need to have young English players in your squad. Manchester City got done, I think it was last year, for not having enough English talents in the squad. They've now made Raheem Sterling one of the richest players in the Premier League, £300,000 a week, because he's a young English talent. The FA are sitting there saying, you know, you need to be breeding young English players to come through and, you know, be able to do it on a national level for the national team, and be able to, you know, be a poster boy for our nation in terms of football. And then they're going out dishing out transfer bans to say, but you can't go and scout in your local area because, you know, you may have been a little bit silly or a little bit mischievous in trying to sign somebody else. So for me, it's just it's just a weird situation, and I think, okay, a fine is fair enough. If we've done wrong, fair enough. But to be here and to say, you know, we're going to give you the transfer ban of 2 years and stop, you know, the young people of our city, of our community, from getting the opportunity to get into the Everton Academy, to become, you know, a professional footballer. Because let's be honest, I'm not going to sit here and toot Everton's horn, because I love Everton Football Club, the best club in the world, in my opinion. I'll always say that. But in terms of academies, there's not many teams in England with a better academy than Everton Football Club, and that's fact. That just is fact. You know, like I said, in the last few years, we've had Tom Davies, John Joe Kenny, Ross Barkley come through the academy. We've seen Wayne Rooney come back, who started at the Everton Academy. We're seeing players daily, weekly, you know, yearly coming through and taking that step up from academy football to, you know, to first team football. And I'm not just talking about the players that have played in the under-23s that we've signed there and that have come through and played, you know, in the first team. I'm talking about players that have been at Everton Football Club since they were small children and have made that transition, and are now some of them, you know, in the first team squad every single week. So it really is a massive shame. And I think, like I said before, I think the Richard Scudamore situation, if you're not clued in, if you don't know sort of what's going on with that. Basically, Richard Scudamore works for the FA, works for the Premier League. He is now retiring, or whatever you want to call it, and the Premier League have come up with this agreement that every Premier League club will pay £250,000 to Richard Scudamore to carry on his legacy. Basically a retirement fund. Basically every Premier League team is putting £250,000 in a big pot for Richard Scudamore to come along and take it when he retires. Thank you very much. And look, I just want to make it absolutely clear in this stream, and if you're watching it as a video, this isn't a go at Richard Scudamore. I don't care about Richard Scudamore. I don't care how much he earns. I know he has earned over £30 million in his tenure at the Premier League, and he's done a great job. He's done a great job. He's earned money for Everton. He's earned money for a lot of other football clubs. But this isn't about Richard Scudamore. This is about the wider issue, the larger issue. And I think for football clubs to be, and I'm disappointed that Everton agreed to do this, but I don't know whether this is just me, but I don't think that it was a do you want to give 250 grand a week? Do you want to give 250 grand to Richard Scudamore? Yeah, go on. I think it was more of, you're giving 250 grand to this man, basically get on with it, or we're going to put you through hell in terms of, fines and stuff like that. And I think especially with Everton, we're just literally the week before being fined £500,000 for the academy issue. So I think we just sort of went, whatever, have it. And like I said, again, like I mentioned before, it doesn't really impact Everton financially, because we are now a massive club. We're financially backed massively. We've got the likes of Farhad Mashiri. We've got the money there to be able to give £250,000 to somebody that works in the Premier League for the pension pot. But for me, I feel for clubs like Bournemouth, who have got a 12,000 seater stadium, haven't got a lot of money in the world. Eddie Howe's doing a fantastic job there at Bournemouth, and they've now been sort of ordered, if you like. Well, it hasn't been ordered, because that's just allegedly, that's just me saying. But for me, they've been asked to give £250,000, which is a lot of money for a club like that. That's a player for Bournemouth. That is half a squad's worth of wages, if not a full squad. It's worth of wages for Bournemouth, and they've been asked to give this amount of money to a fella's retirement pot. Basically, like I said, 12,000 seater stadium. They're doing absolutely unreal where they are in the Premier League. Eddie Howe's doing a fantastic job, but they haven't necessarily got the money to just be doing that. Huddersfield, clubs like that, they haven't got the money to be doing that. And this is why I wasn't going to originally make a video or a stream on this situation, because like I said, it doesn't directly impact Everton too much, because every Premier League club's been involved, and I didn't feel like it was too Everton based to make a video on it. But I think having a little think about it today and over the last couple of days, and thinking about where it comes with the academy ban and the fine on the academy, and then this situation, I do think it links in well with Everton, because if you look at this situation, Premier League clubs, including Everton, are giving 250 grand to a man's legacy to retire from the Premier League, when that money could be used to be put in to grassroots football. That money can be used to be put in to football in our local area. We're now banned from signing academy players for 2 years. £500,000 fine, and we've given £250,000 to Richard Scudamore for his time at the Premier League, and still there's a massive crisis on grassroots football pitches in Liverpool, in the UK as a whole, and young people getting out and playing football, and the next generation. And it really is about that, the next generation. And I don't want to sound too political or whatever in this, but it does have something to do with Everton, because like I said, Everton have been notorious for having one of the best academies in England, and we now cannot utilise that academy to its full potential for 2 years. And whereas Richard Scudamore could have took that money on and said, you know what, I appreciate the gesture of £250,000, I appreciate that, but what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it into grassroots football, I'm going to put it into academy football, I'm going to build centres so that kids can go along and play football weekly and build the skills up and make sure that they've got all the support that they need just in general, but to make sure that any hidden talents in this country that you could look at and go, wow, you could be the next big thing, given the opportunity to express that talent. Because let's be honest, that's all Wayne Rooney was, that's all Ross Barkley was, a lad playing football with his mates on a Saturday afternoon or on a Sunday morning, and a scout's come along and gone, you know what, you could be really good. Next minute, fast forward a few years, he's scoring fantastic goals at 16 years of age against Arsenal. Ross Barkley, Wayne Rooney, this is him on about. Next, fast forward another 10 years, he's won every single trophy with Manchester United. Fast forward again, he's England's highest goal scorer in ever. So we've gone from a lad playing football on with his mates on a Saturday afternoon to be scouted by Everton, brought up, and is now the most coveted footballer probably in English football history. He's the highest goal scorer this country has seen. And I think obviously that affects it. In the Richard Scudamore situation, he could have turned around and said, listen, I'm going to use this money to build facilities, to build football pitches, to make sure that everything is as it should be for the next generation. And I'm like I said, I'm not got anything against Richard Scudamore. We don't know that he won't do that yet. But as far as I'm concerned, he could just turn around and go, cheers for that, however much it is, 5 million, I'm going to get off. And it leaves us in a position where, you know, every football club in the Premier League is given this amount of money to a man, and he's taking it away. We've paid the £500 fine for an academy. Issue with, like I said, and I keep stressing, if we've done wrong, fine us. That's absolutely fair enough. I agree with that. If we've broken the rule, we deserve to be fined. But for a 2-year transfer ban, and then again to take money that could have been used positively for the next generation and just give it to a guy for his retirement pot, it's just absolutely balmy for me. And it directly links in with Everton, because obviously we've got that fantastic academy, because we've been banned for 2 years now from using it, from signing players, I believe, to it. And now the Richard Scudamore situation just sort of adds to the greed of the FA in the Premier League, if you like, for me. And, you know, another point is Everton in the community. Everton in the community are out every single day of their working life, every single day, every single week, every single month, working with the community, trying to raise money. We had the sleep out on Friday, which I mentioned in Monday's stream, which has raised, I think it's upwards of £28,000 so far. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's definitely in and around that. You know, we've got the home, that's for the Homers Where the Heart Is campaign, obviously for tackling homelessness. We've got, you know, the Everton players visiting schools constantly, visiting vulnerable people. We had the tournament of goals, the homeless tournament, which was a couple of months ago, where Everton got involved and basically brought a lot of homeless people to the football centre goals in Liverpool and had them play football. And, you know, they had interviews, a very noticeable interview of a Liverpool fan basically saying, I've got a Liverpool tattoo, but Everton saved my life. And it just sort of, it's amazing the work that we do with the community, but then you look at it and you think, we're raising this money for the community, we're, you know, giving all this money back to the local people that need it, and then some guys coming along from the FA and saying, well, hang on, I want 250 grand as well as sort of an extra pot, but you guys can't, you know, make any you know, signings in your academy for the next 2 years. I just think it's absolutely balmy for me. I'll have a look at the live chat now. We've been going for around about 17 minutes. So Ian says, exactly, Brexit might scupper everyone's plans for signing abroad, counting Scudamore's golden handshake and the fine G's. What they could do for Everton in the community. I heard someone say 6 clubs haven't agreed to pay up. Exactly, and you know, again, I don't want to get too political because I haven't got a clue about Brexit. I really don't. I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know the outs and ins. I don't know the sides. I don't know anything about Brexit. But if some of the rumours that you see are true on Brexit, and that, you know, signing players abroad is going to be a lot harder, and look, it's automatically a lot harder now in terms of a squad, because the FA are putting pressure on having young English players, making sure that in your squad you've got young English players coming through. Manchester City are doing it now with Phil Foden, and Phil Foden, you know, he's a very good player, but he is in that team because he's a young English player, and Pep Guardiola wants to mould him as that, and that's what the FA are at. They're trying to get young English players, and I feel like for me, it's on one hand, they're sitting there going, yeah, we need to breed this next generation of footballers, and then on the other hand, they're saying, but we're not going to really put any money into it, and we're not going to really help out, and we're going to sort of hinder it, but it's your responsibility to do that. And I just think it's absolutely, it's balmy to me. It really is balmy, you know. Scudamore's golden handshake for Everton. Yeah, exactly, the amount of money what they could have done with Everton in the community. If, for example, Everton had have turned around and said, you know what, Richard, we're not going to give you 250 grand. Instead, on your behalf, we're going to donate that to Everton in the community, and all the fantastic people that took part in the sleep out at Goodison Park on Friday night. Bang, 278 grand are being raised on that for homelessness, for the Homers Where the Heart Is campaign, and for homelessness around Liverpool and around Merseyside. Absolutely unbelievable amounts of money going towards a charity that work with the community every single day, but instead it's going towards a guy's legacy that, okay, he might have done a good job, I'm not disputing that, he might have been good for the Premier League, but he hasn't at this minute done anything to impact the next generation of football, or like I said, with Everton in the community, in the charity work or anything like that. That's not to say you won't in the future, but I think it just baffles me, the situation at the minute, because it's like, we're going to give all this money to you, but people are going to, and fair enough, people are going to brave themselves and sleep out in Goodison Park of a night, of a freezing cold night, and raise money for homelessness, but then the club are going to go and give 250 grand to somebody off the cuff for doing that. And again, I don't agree with it, and I am disappointed in the club if we have just willingly gone, yeah, whatever, have it. But I think there's an underlying issue, and I think there's an underlying thing where the Premier League have come in and sort of bullied clubs into saying, yeah, you are going to pay it, or you're going to face quite hefty consequences, really. Somebody said that 6 clubs haven't agreed to pay up. I'm not too sure. I haven't heard about that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know whether that is true or not. I believe you 100%. I dare say there is clubs in the Premier League that have gone, hang on, why should we agree to this? Why is this right? And I would assume that it would be the clubs like Bournemouth, who haven't got a lot of funds, Huddersfield, who are really growing themselves as a Premier League club, especially Bournemouth. Bournemouth are doing fantastic, like I mentioned before, in the Premier League, and they haven't got a lot of funds. So if anyone was to turn around and say, hang on, no, we're not going to give him 250 grand, we could use that to better our football club, I would assume it would be clubs like Bournemouth. But like I said, all as I've seen on the news is that that's been agreed, and that the Premier League have agreed and the football clubs have agreed to give that donation. And like I said, I 100%, I hear what you're saying, and if you're right in what you're saying, and if that's true, then even more, even more questions on Everton is why, if them football clubs have stood up against it and said, no, we're not going to give that, then why couldn't we have stood up and said, actually, we're going to give our money to Everton in the community, or we're going to give our money to another charity, or we're going to feed our money into the community, rather than give it to you, because these have disagreed for their reasons, so here's our reasons. It just absolutely baffles me. A couple of other things I wanted to talk about as well. Obviously, that's a little bit political, that situation, and it does frustrate me. I think, like, the biggest point is the academy ban. It really affects the next generation of footballers, and 2 years is a massive time, especially when you're a kid, especially when you're a young player. 2 years can go from you being prime age to be scouted for a football club like Everton, and, not even being looked at because you're too old or whatever. So, that's a situation obviously we've spoken about. Please leave your comments in the comment section down below. What do you think about that? If you're in the live comments, Ian is very prominent in the live comments. Thank you very much, bud. Thank you very much for all the support, and thank you very much, obviously, for being in the live comments. He said, I'm not stating it's a fact, but just asking. No, 100%, I understand that. I'm not saying that you are stating it's a fact. I'm just saying, like, if that is true, then even more questions on Everton as to why we haven't sort of gone with that, why we haven't said, you know what, why can't we say no? Why can't we say, you know what, we're going to put that somewhere else? But like I said, I don't want to turn around and say no, it's absolutely baloney, because I do believe you, and I do believe there will be clubs in the Premier League that will have at least raised questions as to why they have to do this and why they have to pay this money up. But like I said, a little bit political. In other news, Richarlison featured for Brazil last night. He managed to get himself a goal, an absolutely fantastic thumping header by Richarlison. Again, I think it's 9 goals in 16 games now for club and country for him. He is absolutely on fire. Every single Everton player has come back from the international duty injury-free, which is also fantastic to hear, other than obviously the Ademola Lookman situation, which we already know about. But every other one has come back injury-free. Richarlison, obviously, off that Brazil victory. We've got Cardiff City at the weekend. There will be a preview on Friday to that video. We'll be discussing team news. We'll hopefully have more information on Andre Gomez and Gylfi Sigurdsson. Marco Silva's pre-match press conference is obviously tomorrow at 1:30. So if you're around, catch up with that. I dare say he will be asked the question about Andre Gomez, and did I say Andre Silva again? Andre Gomez and Gylfi Sigurdsson, he'll be asked the question as to whether they are fit and whether they are going to feature on Saturday. So don't forget to catch up with that. I think I'm going to leave it here for that live stream. Big thank you to anybody that has watched live. Big thanks to Ian Clark for, getting involved in the live chat. You raised some fantastic points there, mate. Like I said, that money really could have been used for Everton in the community, and it could have been used for better things rather than just giving it to a guy who, is retiring. And I've had 4 jobs in my lifetime, and every job I've left, nobody said, yeah, let's put a fund together and give Cam, all sorts of money for leaving. just doesn't happen. So for me, it's a little bit of a confusing one. But like I said, I'll be back on Friday with the preview to the Cardiff City game. Hopefully we can get another 3 points at home. We then play Liverpool, which we briefly mentioned in Monday's live stream the week after. We've then got some tough games. We've got Manchester City, we've got Tottenham as well. So hopefully we can build up some points in the home games, especially the games against the teams like Cardiff City, to make sure that we don't go out and end up not gaining points against them top teams or the better teams in the league, and end up putting ourselves in a bit of a sticky situation. So let's hope we can get the 3 points on Friday. That is going to do it for today's live stream. Thank you very much for watching. If you're watching it on YouTube after it's gone up, thank you very much for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new. Like the video as well if you have enjoyed. Comment in a normal comment your thoughts on the Scudamore situation as well as the academy ban. Your thoughts on obviously Richarlison's goal for Brazil and the upcoming Premier League games as well. Ian Clark has said, change the subject, I saw a ball stuck under a parked car, not seen that since I was a lad. Georgie Best said, learning in the street was fundamental. So yeah, exactly, mate. You've got that absolutely spot on. It's getting to a point now, and it's really sad, where I'll be on the bus or I'll be in the car and I'll drive past kids playing football in the street, and I'll go, wow, you really don't see that anymore. And you don't, and it's sad, I used to play football opposite my house. We've got a massive park. I used to play football every single day. We used 2 trees as a goalpost, and we just used to put 2 jumpers down as other goalposts. And now, that I haven't seen that park populated with kids playing football since we were kids, since I was there playing it. And everywhere you go, you very rarely see kids, kicking a ball around. So every time you see it, it's really important, and it's fantastic to see. And he's absolutely right there. Learning in the street is fundamental. It is. You get to learn the best sort of skills. You learn a lot about yourself, and you just automatically you're playing with your friends and you're enjoying yourself playing football, and you're not in a surrounding where you can feel pressured or maybe a little bit bullied into playing a certain way. You're playing with your friends, and most of the time it's just heads and volleys, knockouts, or whether you're playing a game, and it really is the best way to learn. So obviously it's a massive disappointment that the academy ban is in play now, and it makes it even more disappointing that we're giving money away to somebody in the FA when we could be challenging that ban, or we could be saying, hang on, let's put that into the community, and let's make that make that worthwhile. Let's put it into football pitches for people playing football, and see for young kids, and let's put that into building the next generation of football. So thank you very much for watching. Like I said, if you have enjoyed, please do leave a like. Thank you very much for everyone that's watched live. If you are watching as a YouTube video afterwards, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll be back on Friday for the game preview to the Cardiff City game, and hopefully we'll be doing a lot more live streams as well. Really easy to set up. I love doing it. I love interacting with you guys. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.